I was always picked on because I was short, and I was not into sports. I was more into science. I was more into computers. I was pretty much Peter Parker. But at the same time, I was also a child actor, so I had this whole little second life on the outside of high school where I didn't have that stigma attached to me. So I did kind of go back and forth between these two guys, and but you know, in high school, I couldn't get a date to save my life. But then I would run into girls after I graduated who would say, you know, I used to have such a big crush on you. I'm like, well, why didn't you say anything? But for whatever reason, the situations have presented themselves to Peter that didn't really present themselves to me. But it's kind of cool seeing him become this little unintentional player on the screen. It's always been fun.
And Kelly, you actually have a very large role with one of the supporting characters, Flash Thompson, as a love interest to Flash Thompson.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about the dynamics of that interesting relationship?
I don't think she really thinks of him as a love interest at first. I think she kind of thinks he's just an asshole. But you know, he's got a way of kind of growing on you. Yeah, it gets a little steamy later, I guess.
And to continue on the relationship theme, Robert, Adrian, and Doc Ock sort of have an interesting relationship too. Not quite the love relationship that, well, at least not on screen, but something we're missing.
I think Adrian is definitely suffering from a superiority complex, but my off animated screen relationship with Doc Ock is the one where I try not to laugh because our wonderful actor, Peter McNichol, who plays Doc Ock, physicalizes as he's performing. It's all I can do to pay attention to my cues when I'm working with him.
Greg, everyone wants to know what's going on with season 3. Am I right?
So do I. You know, the short answer is we just don't have a pickup yet. We're hopeful. Season 2 is still airing on Disney XD. Got a new episode tomorrow, in fact, and more coming this fall. And we're just crossing our fingers, hoping for a pickup, but we don't have any news yet, I'm afraid.
Hopefully that will change soon. Am I right?
Hope so.
Season 3. Vic, let's talk about the dynamics of the season. As we talked about before, it's set in winter, so directing Spider-Man's a little bit different than just normal, where he's swinging around New York. But now he's got snow and cold elements to deal with. Can you talk about that experience?
It was second season was like designing a whole new show all over again. We had usually in the second season you have assets you can reuse, the characters already designed, the backgrounds. And but with winter, every background had to be redrawn, repainted. Every character had to have an overcoat. So it was a lot of work, but also a lot of fun. I just want to add something about the third season. We're all hoping for a third season. I just want to let you know the season 1 box set is coming out this month. I'm not sure exactly the date.
Tuesday. It's coming out Tuesday.
It's coming Tuesday, and you could do more than hope. If you buy the season 1 box set, that could help. So buy 2.
It's a very nice set.
Christmas is coming 6 months from now. They make great gifts.
As I was saying, it is a very nice set, guys. It's something worth checking out. There's some new special features as well, featuring these guys, and something, if you're a true diehard fan, you will not want to miss. Sean, let's talk about the character designs. You got to redesign a few people, tweak here and there. What's been the highlight for this season for you?
Oh, what's the highlight of the season?
Yes. Okay, overall show, this season.
I got to work with a wonderful cast and crew. That's the highlight. There's nothing that can replace that.
How about any characters specifically you enjoyed redesigning or tweaking to your own?
Let's see. Man, there were so many. Always my favorite would probably be Sandman. Thank you. I think probably my favorite episode is still episode 5. Just movement and the Sinister Six too. Everybody coming together. I'd say my favorite fight sequence is what we just saw up here with them in Central Park. Yeah.
Well, I just want to say, Sean, I think Kravinoff for a season 2 character.
Oh, right. Yeah, there was one character that I knew that I couldn't really mess around with too much, not because they wouldn't let me, but he was just too awesome, you know, so I just wanted to kind of just update him a little bit, so yeah.
Vic, have there been any action sequences early in season 2 that you're particularly proud of?
They showed a little bit of the Venom fight. It's not going to be on tomorrow. It's very brutal. I think it's one of our longest fights. The fun of this show is that the action sequences just go on. And we have fun choreographing, but that is a highlight. We have one set at an opera that I think is already aired, which was, hasn't aired yet? Okay, so it's coming. It's going to be a blast. The season finale, which I got to personally direct that one with, you saw some clips with Harry and maybe the Green Goblin. There's an aerial battle there that I think you guys will like.
Robert, as far as doing voice acting versus the horror genre that we've come to know you from, what's your take on voicing the Vulture?
Well, it took me a while to, I think I mentioned this last year at the con, but it took me a while to find the Vulture. I mean, you want to, you know, sometimes an actor can play a name, Vulture, I mean Adrian, and my first episode was almost entirely getting thrashed by Spidey, so it was almost all exclamations. So it took me a couple of episodes to find the Vulture, and I think I cued off of his age, and also I did want to bring a little bit of a squawk to the voice because he is a bird, a strange bird.
And Josh, Peter Parker's dynamics this season have really changed drastically, as you were talking about. He's changed to a bit more of a player.
Unintentional.
Unintentional player.
It's more of circumstance.
Where would you like to see Peter progress to next?
Man, I'm a fan of Gwen. Like that's who I think. It's one of those situations where the thing that you should be with is right there in front of you, and for whatever reason you're too dumb or to see it, or your eyes are somewhere else, and that's what I would hope for. I mean, that's my vote.
And I would be very remiss if I didn't mention the Master Planner story arc had such a phenomenal build-up, as well as Tombstone from the first season. We got to have the big reveal this season, season 2. Greg and Vic, if you want to talk about building up this storyline, how it worked for you and your experience on that.
Well, we planned it all in advance. I mean, I can see some of my writers here, maybe Andrew Robinson, Nicole Dubuque, Matt Wayne. Is Kevin Hobbs around too somewhere? He left, oh well. And Randy Jan's not here, but we just had a great writing staff on this show. Also with Michael Vogel and Craig Kyle and Josh Fine from Marvel and Vic, all sort of pitching in ideas, but it really came down to being in the writer's room, and we have these giant bulletin boards with all these different colored index cards and moving stuff around so that each arc sort of plays out, plants seeds for future arcs, ties up some loose ends, but keeps other things going. It's a complicated process, but it's actually a lot of fun. And you know, we'd all go out for Cuban food, and then come back and spend a long afternoon breaking 3 or 4 an arc at a time, 3 or 4 stories, and all work together. And then the writers would all scatter to do their individual scripts. But it was a real team effort to break these arcs, and so I'm very grateful to these guys.
Vic, anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, and also they've got a great directing team this season too. Kevin Altieri, Michael Gogan, and Jennifer Coyle. And the last step before the script would go to final is we'd have a meeting with the directors too, where they would give their suggestions and additions and bring something to it also.
And a shout out to Gordon Kent too.
Yes, Gordon Kent, if you're in here.
Yeah, who's our